Good morning students, welcome to the class. In the previous class we have completed data abstraction and Dbms architecture. Okay, so today we have discussed about the database user and data dictionary. Okay, so let us discuss in detail. Database user. A typical DBMS has users with different rights and permissions who use it for different purposes. Okay, some users retrieve data and some back it up. The users of a DBMS can be broadly categorized as follows. One is your end user, second another one is your administrator, that means database administrator, and third one is your database designer. That means database users can be divided into three categories. First one is your end user, another one is your administrator, that means DBA, third one is your database designers. Okay, let us discuss one by one. First is administrator, that means database administrator, DB. Administrators maintain the DBMS and are responsible for administrating the database. Okay, they are responsible to look after its usage and by whom it should be used. They create access profiles for users and apply limitations to maintain isolation and force security. Okay. And next is your administrators also look after DBMS resources like system license, required tools, and other software and hardware related maintenance. That means administrator has the responsibility to administrating the database. Okay, and also look after its uses and also its who should be used this database, and also they create access profiles for users and also apply limitations or rules to maintain the isolation and for security, also protect the security, and also administrators has the responsibility to look after DBMS resources like system license, required tools, and other software and hardware related maintenances. These are the responsibility of database administrator. Next is your database designers. Designers are the group of people who actually work on the designing part of the database. They keep a close watch on what data should be kept and in what format. Okay. They identify and design the whole set of entities, relations, constraints, and views. That means here database designer is are the group of people who actually work on the designing part of the database. Okay, and here database designer has the responsibility to monitor the database, and in the database what data should be kept, and the data should be kept, the data which should be kept in which format. Okay, and also the database designer identify and design the whole set of entities and relations, constraint, and views. Also focus on this. Okay, next is your end user. End user are those who actually reap the benefits of having DBMS. That means the user who actually get the benefits having DBMS. End user can range from simple viewers who pay attention to the logs or market rates to sophisticated users such as business analysts. Okay, So here end user also can be divided into 4 types. First is your casual end user. Casual end user occasionally access the database, but they may need different information each time. That means the user who use the database occasionally. That type of user is known as casual end user. Okay. Next is your never parametric end user. Never parametric end user make up a sizable portion of database end users. Their main job function revolves around constantly querying and updating the database using standard types of queries and updates called canned transactions that have been carefully programmed and tested. That means here never parametric end user is the user who use a sizable portion of the database end user. Okay. Their main job, that means never parametric end users has the main job to revolves around constantly querying and updating the database using standard type of queries and updates. That means he cannot create the database, he can only use the database. That means ready-made database which is already developed. That database he can use and he can use for personal purpose, or he can use it for her transactions. Okay. That database which is he used, that can be programmed and tested carefully. Okay. For example, your in the income tax accountants or income who has calculated the income tax, they use the taxation database, but the taxation database are ready-made database. They can be only used for their personal use. That means the transaction which is can be used for their clients, that can be stored and that can be calculated. Okay, but he cannot create the database. He only insert the data and calculate the data and using the different queries, standard types of queries. Okay. Next one is your sophisticated end user. Sophisticated end users include engineers, scientists, business analysts and others who thoroughly familiarize themselves with the facilities of the Dbms so as to implement their applications to meet their complex requirements. That means sophisticated end users are the engineers, scientists, business analysts and others who have familiarized with the facilities of the Dbms, and also they can implement their application to meet their complex requirements. Okay, so this is your sophisticated end user. Next one is your standalone end user. Standalone users maintain personal databases by using ready-made program packages that provide easy to use menu or graphic based interface. That means this type of user maintain the personal database by using ready-made program packages and easy to use, and also for using the menu based interface or graphics based interface. Okay, so these are the concept of database user. Next is our data dictionary. Okay. Data dictionary contains metadata. Metadata means data about the data. So here data dictionary contains the metadata, that is data about the database. Okay. Data about the data in the database. The data dictionary is very important as it contains information such as what is in the database, who is allowed to access it, where is the database physically stored, etc. That means this type of information are stored in the data dictionary. Which type of information? what is in the database, database के अंदर क्या है, who is allowed to access it, and where the database is physically stored. All these things are stored in the data dictionary. The user of the database normally don't interact with the data dictionary. It is only handled by the DBA or database administrator. That means data dictionary only handled by the database administrator. Okay. The data dictionary in general contains information about the name of all database tables and their schemas, details about all the tables in the database such as their owner, their security constraint, when they were created. Okay. And also stores physical information about the tables such as where they are stored and how, and the table constraints such as primary key attribute, foreign key information, etc. Information about the database views that are visible. Okay, that means this type of information, this gender information are also stored in the data dictionary. That means data dictionary contain these informations. The information first is your name of all the database tables and schemas, and the details about the tables or database means who is their owner and their security constraint and when they were created. And also stores the physical information like where they are stored and how they are stored. Okay. And also stores the constraint, that means primary key attributes and foreign key informations. These are stored. And also store the information about the database views that are visible. So this is the concept of about data dictionary. So that's all in this class. In this class we have completed the data dictionary concept and database user. Okay.